new beginnings. That's what the Defend Dignity Survivor Support Fund is all about. There is a huge lack of funds and services for survivors of sexual exploitation in Canada. People who are exploited need funds as they get back up on their feet so that they don't have to sell sex as a means of survival. Funds are needed for everything from the basic necessities of food and shelter to education so that they can get good employment to trauma counseling. The Survivor Support Fund was created to meet these needs.
The Survivor Support Fund offers flexibility for survivors to financially be able to identify what would be helpful to them in their recovery.
We can kind of run the first leg of the race with the women. We can provide the support, but it's that critical dollars for the last part of that race which we really need the Survivor Support Fund dollars for.
One good example was the most recent application that I did for Survivor Support Fund. She was a young woman who was in the industry for 5 years. She had originally come to CEASE looking for support around food, clothing, and a bursary to go back to school and take a course in the beauty industry that she was interested in. CEASE was able to provide her with a bursary to go back to school, and then she was needing extra support and funds for car insurance, clothing, food, those kind of things to kind of get her through the time frame of going back to school and then looking for employment. So the Survivor Support Fund was able to give her funding for her vehicle insurance for 3 months, which was able to get her through that difficult time. She ended up graduating the program and she has secured full-time employment and is no longer in the industry. So she's doing very well. She's a single mom of a young daughter, so that fund made a huge difference in her life.
I'd like to share with you one of the stories of a young person who accessed the Survivor Support Fund. This was a young woman who came to our agency to access service about 2 years ago. And at this time, she was really struggling to manage some of her trauma symptoms and was struggling with substance use as well. She identifies as a survivor of domestic human trafficking. She applied for the Survivor Support Fund to replace a piece of her furniture. So this was to replace her bed, which acted as a trigger for her and a real reminder of some of the traumas that she had experienced. And so the support was access to replace this piece of furniture.
I think the reality is for most women, without the support of organizations and the Survivor Support Fund, is that they would end up going back into the sex industry because there's no alternative ways or other ways for them to support their families or move forward.
As we collaborate with service providers who work directly with survivors, our effectiveness multiplies. Defend Dignity believes that it is possible to end sexual exploitation in our country, but it will take all of us. It will come through God's power, using the efforts of the church, of individuals, of organizations, all working together. That's what will make it possible.